One to transport. Welcome to Geekiest to Geeks. I'm coming to you from VidCon 2015 in Anaheim, California. Let's go.
That's basically, it's like it's harder and harder to cross that gap unless you're making Avengers 3, basically, or some sort of, specifically a Marvel property at this point.
So to finally answer the question, which is how do you actually make a business and run a business and feed yourself and put a roof over your head? For us, the answer is a combination of ad revenue, crowdfunding, and the occasional sponsored gig. Basically, our business model is we kind of have seasons of videos. We'll have a couple months where we're not putting videos out, where we are working on that bigger project. We're working on that bigger idea, you know, writing scripts or doing development or delving into a project that's not necessarily going to be seen on YouTube. And then we get back into the YouTube thing, and we put up a video every 2 weeks. We run that for at least 6 months of the year. And that's the consistency that you need to build that audience and build that brand. And you need that audience and you need that brand. You need to have a following so that when you put out those products, people are there to consume it. Mm-hmm. But we're lucky enough that we have enough of a following and dedicated enough fan base that they support us through crowdfunding. We're running a Patreon campaign, which helps, like, we have the ad revenue, which kind of accounts for about 15 to 20% of the revenue that we make from a video, and then Patreon is the rest of that.
I want to know, because everybody in here is probably clearly wants to do what you guys have done. So is it possible to start as a YouTube creator with the intention of having a big empire, or do you feel like it has to evolve small and grow organically? And talk about your own experience to that. Whoever wants to start can jump in.
I think at this point, you kind of have to have the mentality, like back when we were doing, all of us, back when all of us were starting, nobody knew that it was a thing you could do, but I think now people who are starting, who are going to be able to do it, of course, know that it is a thing that you could do, and so you'll have that idea in your head, one, and two, it helps to, you have to be working harder than we did.
So when we started out, I started in 2010. At the time, like, it was because I talked to Daystorm, and it was like the calculus that went into it was, oh, I can pay my rent. And that was it. It was like a partner program, kind of. Nobody was like, making boatloads of cash. Nobody was showing up on the cover of Variety, you know what I mean? Like, it was a time where doing it was considered pretty stupid, right? It was like, everyone's like, you're doing what? Like, you're quitting your job. I had a full-time job, and it was like, you're quitting that for what? So, probably, at this point, it's going to be a similar thing where it's like, now it's like, you're right in terms of a lot more competition because everyone's seeing this. It's like, oh, this is going to be a thing, and I can build an empire off of it, and I can do all this stuff. So, as a result, you got a lot more people doing it, but also all the things that we did may not necessarily translate, but I think at the very least, you probably have to start with something that you're passionate about, but it's probably a stupid idea. Like, if half your friends are like, that's a dumb idea, why would you do that? You're probably not going to try.
You probably can't quit your job right away to do that. So I think that's, in the very, very big picture way, that's kind of the start of building anything, is understanding how do I be sustainable even with what I'm trying to do. If I'm trying to do a video a week, how do I do that without, with a full-time job? And that's kind of the beginning building blocks. And I think for me and Rafi, there were two of us, which we thought was, there's only two of us, and then we met all the creators that were doing it completely by themselves, jealous that there were two of us. And made us realize, oh yeah, there are two of us. And we kind of built everything on how can you make the most premium piece of content the cheapest way possible with two people, and then replicated that over the course of time to understand how do you become sustainable, which then ended up helping us so much later as we started building our own company of understanding the steps that it takes. So I think you shouldn't necessarily think my goal is to have a company on wherever I'm going to do it, but like figuring out how to become sustainable is a great first step. But of course it's possible, and I always encourage everybody, even the big creators now that are still kind of doing just one thing, to broaden your horizons, be thinking bigger. There's no reason not to if you're passionate about it.
Whenever you can, like you said, do practical, whenever you can really prepare for shoot, like you must shoot on a green screen, light it in the correct way, have your background play first so you're having something to match. If you're just saying, we'll just get this down because this is what it is, you're gonna end up giving machines.
I feel like I've noticed a lot of younger creators, people that trying to do heavily effects, driven videos, selling themselves short, and I think in a way not believing that their video can be as good as someone who's had much more experience, or as good as this Hollywood production, especially in terms of editing and shot framing. There's certain things where it's like, I think the way we always tried to approach it was, we have the same tools. We're using a Handycam, but it has a zoom range. It's the same zoom range of the lenses that we're using in Hollywood. Therefore, there's no reason why I can't frame up the same shot for the dialogue scene as they are. There's certain things that we've done. And so the way I see people rushing things too much and almost putting them, stopping before things are done, where someone will say, hey, check out this effect, and I'll send it to you. And you look at it and you go, well, they did all the hard stuff, but they didn't quite do that last 10% just to send it home. And I think in a way, just because they didn't believe they could get it to be that good.
You guys know Joe Hanson?
Yeah, we don't have name cards. Should be pretty easy to figure out who we are. So, Emily and I got started on YouTube about the same time, a little over 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Both came from the Tumblr universe. Anybody in here from the Tumblr days? And I just want to get this out of the way because, I followed Emily starting at the same time. Just how great the Brain Scoop is. We just get a huge amount of...
And I was recently saying that to Fred Seibert, who was on this stage last year. He's really, been on the cutting edge of all the cutting edges of media since cable started. He was early exec at MTV and sort of brought Hanna-Barbera back and he's the Frederator Studios guy. He's amazing, and I said, oh, it's just, he's like, how did this happen? And I was like, oh, it's just like it happened. I don't know, it's like a thing happened. And he was like, BS, how did it happen? I hear people tell this lie all the time, and I know it's a lie, and so tell me the truth. And the truth is that everybody who does this...
If you didn't know, if you're like, who is that chick? My name is Felicia. I created a web series called The Guild for 6 seasons. I wrote, produced, and acted in that. I created a company called Geek and Sundry 3 years ago with YouTube, and I sold that company to Legendary Entertainment last year. So I still get to make $1 million. Thank you very much, Legendary. Jurassic World. No, I don't have those budgets. I was also in Supernatural because I included that because my face looks pretty there.
And there's a couple ways of doing that, and the easiest way is to make really bad movies, direct-to-DVD, direct-to-TV movies. That's what I did for a bit. I made direct-to-DVD, direct-to-TV movies. Have you ever been in like a Walmart, like or a Safeway, and you're like, man, Lawrence Fishburne's in this movie. What's he doing in this movie? I've never heard of this movie. Those are the kinds of movies that I was making. We actually had a friend of ours who was a director, and he made movies for Walmart. And it was like, there's only 2 things that you need to make a movie for Walmart. Either 1, you need an explosion on the cover, or 2, you make it about the Chupacabra. I'm not kidding. Those were the 2 things that they asked for. And he's like, I have this romantic comedy. It's like, can you put an explosion on the cover? He's like, I guess it doesn't have. It's like, fine, we're selling it.
So I wrote this song about being a YouTube creator because when I first started making videos, I kept telling people this is what I'm doing now, and I faced a lot of resistance from people who didn't quite understand it. And in case any of you are going through something like that, this is what I wish someone had told me when I was first starting out. Hope you like it. To ride a bike, you learn to tie your shoes, and you learn you could do anything that you put your mind to. You could be a famous artist, you could be a big rock star, and you could even change the world as long as you try really hard. Before you know it, there are exceptions to the rule. Just isn't taught in school. If you've been discouraged, what you want may feel less clear. So let me tell you what you need to hear. All the things you create make the world a better place. Don't settle for someone else's dream. It'll be really tough, but know that you are good enough. Don't live
different. I never took the easy road, and I've got so many things to say that I just might explode. Making beauty out of nothing.